This is week 2.5. Reporting on the progress here. Now I have a driveway. If you recall from earlier videos, it was hard to even tell there was a driveway here, save for a couple of open parts where you could view the asphalt. But I've successfully unearthed the driveway now, which took a lot of effort to cut the vines, move the dirt surrounding the vines, below the vines, and now you see the complete outlines of the driveway such as it is. And probably the biggest surprise so far is discovering a giant gaping hole in the driveway, which is no doubt due to the presence of trees that grew up right here. You see the remains of the drainage system they tried. Black corrugated pipe is crushed and in bad condition and probably full of mud. But what happened here is that for whatever reason, you see a culvert down in there. This culvert gave way. Whatever was below this culvert gave way. The culvert sank. The tile, I should say. And as a result, there's no longer a complete tube effect. In fact, what you have below this piece of asphalt is air. The water runs directly through there, through no tube at all, and into the next piece of culvert tile, which you can barely see. And this bisects the driveway and terminates right about here. I don't have it unearthed right now, but the culvert does continue for some distance. I'm not sure how far. And then further out in the yard you have corrugated pipe. So anyway, the challenge today will be to try and break up this culvert area of the asphalt with the eventual goal of replacing it with a new culvert. And we're going to do that the old way, or attempt to anyway, without a saw, without a jackhammer, but with determination. Now in the process of measuring and trying to come up with a straight line to adhere to when breaking up the asphalt. First of all, make your life easy. You don't always need the hammer. Look at that. Revealing part of the culprit there. You see the tree root, hopefully. not to pulverize here. Try not to obliterate. Look at that. Just give it a little tap. Cat-like reflexes. A neighbor with heavy equipment operator experience mistakenly assumed that this trench was dug by machine. It was dug 100% by hand using a shovel and other basic tools. See, the water is really close to the top of this trench. This trench is about 2.5 feet deep. The trench is drained by 2 corrugated plastic pipes that run about 100 feet that way. And I think that it's just that they've reached their capacity. I hope they're not blocked, but there's no way to know for sure. You can see the water is running swiftly down that direction. It's running over the top of the ground and underground through the tubes down to the sink. But also we have water running down the driveway into this low spot here. It really is practically a creek at this point. See that red dot?
Yeah.
Okay, we're filming. We're live from...
We got the coupler and we got the 2 culverts. We're going to take them off and roll them over here.
Yes, that's what I need for this kind of narration. The steel culvert pipes were purchased at a farm supply store approximately 30 miles away. Steel 12-inch pipe was selected for its strength, durability, and the sheer volume of water that will pass through the culvert, as observed earlier. We have 6 bags of gravel, in addition to 5 bags of gravel. A total of 12. No, I mean 11. I decided to do this project all on my own, out of necessity, and for 2 other reasons. Firstly, I am of the opinion that we have reached a crisis. The baby boom retirement has left the country with a deficit of skills and skilled people. In the future, this crisis will force us to become more self-reliant and to develop skills we may not have needed in the abundant period which is now past. Secondly, it costs money to rent heavy equipment, to dig a trench, or to hire it done. Sometimes we do it ourselves because it is cheaper that way. Okay. How's that going so far? Still got a red dot?
Yeah,
Can you see me?
I
I
can.
think we should take
It's about
those,
95 degrees and 110% humidity.
take these all the way in.
Inside the barn?
No,
On the other side of
on the
the...
other side of the trench
Oh.
so somebody doesn't come by.
Where's the cart? Get the cart. Wheeled cart. You need the wheeled cart.
Just get one in.
Okay, it's not that bad.
Oh, better get this.
Not bad at all. Put it on the other side of the barn. Still in sight.
Okay there. Can't see it now.
I think I was wrong. I think it's actually 120% humidity today. Wait, let me take this tape off. I want it taken off. Correct.
Burn up some of your good scab wood. I don't know. You can use it as scab. That old stuff's no good. All of this is rotten.
June 21st, 2022, Solstice Day. I'm getting very close to completing culvert project. Got the trench the way I want it. It's got a good slope to it. I've determined what length I want to have the pipe. I actually have two 10-foot lengths of culvert. And I am about to cut this one, measured carefully, put lines on the pipe, and now I'm going to be using this brand new reciprocating saw to saw it in two pieces. I hope I have enough battery power. I have two fully charged batteries. I will need to drill a hole first to get started, and we'll see how it goes. It's very important to use your hearing protection, guys. These are the ones I use when I'm playing the drums. Probably the same kind that jackhammer guys wear. But anyway, gotta drill a pilot hole to get me started, and I can commence the sawing. So here we go. Got to make a big enough hole to be able to start the saw, so I'm going to use some hand tools to do that. Well, believe it or not, I had to drill 4 holes in order to make enough space for me to get the saw in there. But I've tested it. I think it's going to go pretty quick. So here we go. I think it's time to change blades. While I'm at it, I thought I'd show you just how fast and easy it is to change blades on one of these things. It's simply a matter of twisting the dial, inserting the blade, and the machine locks onto the blade using that circle hole in the blade. Now we're ready to go. Shouldn't take long to get the rest of the way through this. That's it, guys, we got it. Now that I've cut one piece, I'm going to try to go ahead and join the two pieces using this union here. If you've ever done this, you'll know that the ends of these culverts have a straight section before they go into a curly Q pattern. You want to use the end of your pipe that's a straight section. At least, I believe that's the way it's intended. Join up two straight sections with your union, you'll probably have better luck. I inadvertently damaged the threads on one of the large bolts that were to join the culvert pipes. At that moment, my first impulse was to drive to the box store for a replacement, or in other words, to take the consumerist easy way out. But in the pioneer spirit of doing it oneself, I worked on the threads with a hacksaw until I got them working. And in the end, there was no need for a replacement. solid yet. About as good as she gets. The only question now is, do I cut these bolts off? I think I will. Well, the trench is pretty much how I want it. It's taken a lot of days, weeks to get it to this point, but it's got a good slope, and I'm ready to set down a bed of gravel, and the culvert pipe will rest on that bed. I'll just make sure that I tamp down the gravel really well before placing the pipe in the ditch. So here we go. This is a moment I know I've been waiting for a long time now. I'm ready to lay the pipe in the trench. So here we go. I wanted to keep the side of the pipe with the protruding bolts facing upward so that there would be nothing keeping the pipe from laying flat in the trench. Oh, it fits. Amazing. I'm quitting for the day. Tomorrow we'll come back and finish. It's a good day's work though. Turns out tamping is an excellent upper body workout. This is June 23rd, the day after the placement of the pipe. I've filled the trench and I just want to take a short video reporting on what I've done. It's been a process of fill, tamp, fill, tamp. I started with pure dirt, and closer to the top I moved on to dirt rock mix. And I've tried to smooth out the ends, to build them up and then smooth them out so that the pipe is exposed. But as you can see, we're within an inch or two of the top. The good transition on both ends. And it's now time to apply the gravel.